People like to say that the truth hits you like a punch. That's a lie. A punch is quick. Immediate. Over in a second, but truth, the kind you weren't meant to hear, arrives slowly. Like a knife dragged, not stabbed. A tearing, not a strike. The night it happened wasn't dramatic. There was no storm, no emotional argument boiling in the air. No warning of the aftershock that would split my life cleanly into before and after. It was a normal Tuesday. Quiet. Plain. Forgettable. Except for what it became. I was standing in my kitchen, barefoot on cool tile. Rummaging through a drawer filled with warranty papers and appliance manuals, things I should have organized long ago, when the faucet began its slow, rhythmic drip. The same leak my dad had sworn he'd fixed months ago. The same leak I'd reminded him about at least 3 different times. I sighed and dialed him out of habit, expecting irritation, maybe a grunt. Certainly not the unraveling of my entire life. He answered on the 4th ring. Yeah? Loud noise in the background, clinking glasses, chatter, footsteps. Hey, I said, pressing the phone between my ear and shoulder as I searched through the drawer. Do you remember where you put the faucet paperwork? You said you filed it under kitchen, but check the den drawer, he cut in. Under the old tax stuff. Okay, thanks. Sorry to bother you while you're. He wasn't listening anymore. Yeah, whatever. We're heading to dinner. The line rustled. I waited for the click, but it never came. What came instead, clearest I've ever heard anything in my life, was my mother's voice. Who was that? She asked. Annabelle, my dad replied, like the name itself was a chore. Always something wrong with that damn house. My hand froze mid-search. The phone sat between my shoulder and ear, suddenly 10 times heavier. You know how she is, my mom sighed. Honestly, Harold, this is exactly why your mother should have left the house to us. We would have used it wisely. A sharp slice of air left my chest. My grandmother had left the house to me because she trusted me. Because she knew what my parents never bothered to see, my responsibility, my discipline. My ability to build something slow and steady instead of burning it all down. But hearing my mother rewrite that memory felt like someone was pressing a hand against my throat. Yeah, my father grumbled. Once we get back, we need to sit her down about our retirement plan. She needs to understand the house is part of our future. My hearing tunneled. The room tilted. It's ridiculous anyway, he continued. The house being in her name. Only in her name. Only. As if I'd stolen it. As if I owed them explanation or permission for something that legally, morally, fully belonged to me, but they weren't done. You know how she is, my mother whispered. She feels guilty so easily. Just push her a little. Mention doctor bills, or how stressed we are. She'll sign whatever we need. My stomach dropped so hard I had to grip the counter to keep myself steady. Push me. Manipulate me. Use guilt, my oldest wound, as their tool, and if she resists, my father added, remind her what we sacrificed for her. She owes us. By next year, that deed'll have our names on it. Their seats clinked. Their drinks arrived. And then, the sentence that snapped something clean inside me. The way bone breaks with a sound you never forget. She's always been a burden. My father said. My mother laughed, clear. Sharp. Cruel. The laugh hit me harder than the words. I didn't end the call consciously. My body must have done it for me. I only remember slowly sinking to the floor, the cabinet handle pressing into my back. The drip under the sink tapping like a metronome marking time in a life I no longer recognized. Everything I ever excused, softened, justified, years of small wounds I'd labeled misunderstandings, suddenly rearranged themselves into a picture so clear it burned. Their generosity toward me? Conditional. Their affection? Transactional. Their sacrifices? Leverage, never love, not once, and just like that, something old in me died. Something new opened its eyes, not anger. Not yet clarity, cold, clean clarity. They saw me as a burden, then I didn't owe them anything. I wiped my face, stood up, and grabbed my laptop, not to confront them. Not to fight. Not to scream. I did something they feared more than anything else. I started planning. For 3 days, I moved like a ghost in my own home. I called in sick. I stared at my coffee until it went cold. I lay awake replaying those words. She's always been a burden. Every time I blinked, I was 12 again, hearing my dad snap when I asked for school shoes. 16 again, hearing my mom sigh loud enough for the neighbors when I wanted college brochures. 22 again, hearing them tell everyone how hard it was raising me, while I worked 2 jobs to keep myself afloat. The pattern wasn't new. Only the proof was. By the morning of the 4th day, numbness cracked, replaced by a steady, deliberate urgency. I typed a single name into my search bar, Vivian Hale. Property attorney. The woman was quiet steel. Efficient. Calm in the face of generational chaos. When I told her everything, she didn't blink. You are under no legal obligation to house your parents, she said. The words hit the air like fresh oxygen. She kept going. The property is entirely yours. Their residency gives them 0 ownership. If you want them out, you document everything and take action quietly. You do not warn them. Quietly, not loudly. Not emotionally, quietly. A strategy they'd never see coming. I left her office steadier than I'd felt in years. A new spine had grown inside me. A steel one. Next call, Ethan, a colleague who always treated me like a human instead of a tool. I need a private sale, I said. Fast. Off market. He didn't ask why. I know 2 buyers ready to go. You'll get around $950. Perfect, more than enough to rebuild a life. Far more than the $0 I owed my parents. By evening, I'd made a list of everything in the house. 3 categories: mine, theirs. Uncertain, not a single item with sentimental ambiguity was allowed to remain unaccounted for. Nostalgia was a trap, one they'd weaponized my entire life. I started packing. Not frantically. Not angrily, methodically. Like someone preparing for a quiet war. Already my belongings boxed and labeled for movers. Theirs boxed separately, destined for a storage unit I'd already rented under their names. 6 months paid up front. After that, their problem. Then came logistics, new bank accounts, new email, new phone number. Forwarded mail rerouted to a short-term apartment 2 hours away. Automatic payments updated. Utilities scheduled for transfer. Every task sliced another thread between me and them. The night before the movers came, I stood in the middle of my grandmother's old garden. Lavender. Marigolds. A few stubborn roses she'd planted with me when I was 11. I touched a petal. I'm not the burden you thought I was. I whispered, whether I meant it for them or for the version of myself that had believed their lies for so long, I still don't know. The movers arrived just after sunrise. I handed them a list. I stayed calm. By noon, my home, was empty. Clean. Silent. I didn't look back when the truck pulled away, not once. My parents came home on a warm Thursday afternoon, sun low, air cool, leaves crisp underfoot, the kind of day that usually feels peaceful. Not that day. Mrs. Dawson, my old neighbor, texted me the moment they arrived. They're here. I sat in my parked car by my new apartment. My fingers gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles went white. I pictured everything, them walking up the driveway with luggage full of souvenirs I'd paid for. Them laughing about Europe, drinks, meals, sights I'd never been invited to. Them approaching the front door, my front door. Them expecting life to continue exactly as it always had. Then I saw it clearly, my father sliding his key into the lock. Turning it. Expecting it to work. The moment of confusion. The second attempt. The third. The fourth, and then, the realization, the beautiful, quiet, devastating realization, they were locked out of a life they'd never valued. Mrs. Dawson called. Annabelle, she whispered, barely holding back laughter. Your dad tried the key 4 times. Your mother's banging like someone's inside and ignoring her. My chest rose slowly. Fell slowly. What are they doing now? I asked. They're circling the house, checking windows. Your dad is saying you had no right to change the locks. They are absolutely losing it. A small smile warmed the edge of my mouth. Of course they were. Entitlement doesn't go quietly. An hour later, the voicemails began. My father first. What the hell is going on? Call me back immediately. Then my mother, voice sugar-dipped fake. Honey, this must be a misunderstanding. Why is the house empty? Why won't the keys work? Please call us. Then the message I'd been waiting for, the one that confirmed I had completed my grandmother's work for her. We found your little note, my father snarled. A burden did this? Really? You think this is a joke? You can't just sell our home out from under us. Expect a lawyer. Our home, the entitlement in that single word was almost laughable. I didn't reply. Silence is a language manipulative people hate the most. The next morning, chaos escalated. Predictably. My office texted me, your parents are here. Yelling. Security asked them to leave. Heat flared under my skin. Not from shame, but from final confirmation. They still thought they owned me, still thought fear would bring me crawling back. I called my boss to apologize. Don't worry, she said. They won't be let in again. Take time off if you need it. Someone choosing me over them felt strange. New. Right, that night, a number only a few people had access to rang. My father. Angry. Cold. Tomorrow. Maple Street Cafe. 10 a.m. If you don't show, we'll come to your job again. And we won't be polite. He hung up. Once, I would have trembled. Once, I would have cried. Now, I felt something entirely different, resolve. I wasn't going to Maple Street Cafe as their daughter. I was going as the woman they'd taught, through cruelty, to survive without them. I arrived late on purpose. They were already there, my mother looking small and panicked, my father looking furious. You finally decided to show, he snapped. I sat. Calm. Unshaken. I'm here, I said. Say what you need to say. What did you do to our home? My mother demanded, tears forming immediately. Fake tears. Practiced. Once, they would have won. Not today. It was never your home, I said softly. You lived there because I allowed it. My father leaned forward. We were discussing our future. We didn't mean, I tapped my phone screen. The recording played. She's a burden. Push her. She'll sign whatever we need. She owes us. The house will be ours. Their voices. Their words. Their truth. My mother's face went ghost white. My father's hands balled into fists. How dare you record us, you called me, I said. You forgot to hang up. Silence. You didn't just misunderstand who I am, I continued. You underestimated me. Their tears, excuses, threats, they all slid off me like water. No more guilt. No more fear. For the first time in my life, I had power. Not because I wanted it, but because they forced me to build it. And I wasn't done. Not even close. I stood in my apartment that night, staring at the empty doorway long after my parents walked out. The silence felt heavier than anything I had carried for years. For the first time, I wasn't drowning in guilt. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't begging for someone to choose me. I was free. And freedom, I realized, was terrifying only until you tasted it. I sat down, opened my laptop, and looked at the emails I had ignored from my father. Short, desperate messages like, "Can we talk? We need your help, please. It's urgent." For most of my life, I would have dropped everything. I would have rearranged my entire existence to make sure they were okay. But not anymore. I had finally learned the most painful lesson of adulthood: some people only remember you when they need something. And sometimes those people are the ones who raised you. 2 days later, my phone rang. Dad. A part of me, an old, broken part, almost answered with fear. But I swallowed hard and picked up anyway. His voice wasn't angry this time. It wasn't demanding. It was shaking. Hey, we've been thinking a lot, he said slowly. And we realized we should have been there for you. I didn't respond. We weren't there when you collapsed. We weren't there when you woke up. And honestly, we weren't there for most things. Still, I stayed quiet. He exhaled shakily. We're ashamed, son. Not of you, never of you. We're ashamed of ourselves. That stunned me. For years, I thought they didn't come because they didn't care. But now I was hearing something far uglier. They didn't show up because it was easier not to face how badly they had failed me. Dad, I said finally, you don't get to disappear for years and come back just because you're in trouble. I know, he whispered. And I'm not asking you to fix anything for us. That's exactly what you're asking. Silence. Then, softly, you're right. It was the first honest thing he had said to me in a long time. 2 weeks passed. I heard nothing. I convinced myself I didn't care, until the night someone knocked on my door. I opened it. My mother stood there. Her eyes were red. Her hair pulled back in a messy tie. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Can I come in? She asked quietly. I stepped aside. She walked into my apartment like it was holy ground, like she wasn't sure she was welcome. For a long moment, she didn't speak. Then her voice cracked. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. My chest tightened, but I didn't say anything. She wiped her face with trembling hands. I didn't come to your graduation because I couldn't face the truth. You built a life without us. You survived without us. And watching you succeed, it reminded me that we weren't the parents you needed. Her honesty hit me like a punch. Your dad and I, we leaned on you too much. We expected you to carry the emotional weight of the whole family. And now, when we're struggling, we realized we have no one but you. I swallowed hard. Mom, I said quietly, you don't get to come back only when your world falls apart. She nodded miserably. I know. And I'm not here for help. I'm here because I don't want to lose you forever. Something inside me cracked, not the old wound, but the armor I had built around it. Can we fix this? She asked. Can we still be a family? My voice was barely above a whisper. Only if we start from the beginning. No guilt. No pressure. No obligations. Just honesty. I can do that, she said, tears spilling again. I'll try. I really will. For the first time in years? I believed her. Healing didn't happen overnight. Months later, they invited me to dinner. No pressure. No expectations. Just dinner. I went. When I walked into the restaurant, they stood up immediately. Not with entitlement. Not with desperation. But with respect. My mother hugged me first. My father rested a gentle hand on my shoulder. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt like their equal. Not their caretaker. Not their emotional crutch. Not their fixer. Just someone they loved, not someone they leaned on. And in that quiet, warm moment, I realized, my revenge was never about hurting them. It was about healing myself completely. The real revenge was this: they lost control over me. They lost the ability to guilt me. They lost the power to define my worth. And I gained something far more valuable, a life that finally belonged to me. Some days felt like progress. Some felt like reopening old scars. But this time, I wasn't the one doing all the emotional labor. My father apologized without excuses. My mother respected my boundaries. They asked permission before showing up. They actually listened when I talked. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And I realized something powerful: forgiveness isn't about erasing the past. It's about refusing to let the past own you anymore. I wasn't forgiving them because they deserved it. I was forgiving them because I deserved peace. Thanks for watching.